So the goal of this is to go through your personal portfolios. I have a few lined up. I think I have 3 or 4 ready to go right off the bat to start this thing off. But if you have a personal portfolio that you would like to get reviewed during this live stream, leave that in the chat and we will definitely get to it. I think that'll be a good way to kind of organize this. As far as timing, we'll just get through as many as we can. If we run out of them, then we'll be done. So let's jump right into it. I want to get started and make this as valuable as possible. So let's go into the first one. Okay, so the first person I have here on the so the first portfolio we have to review here is by Ulas. I think I'm saying that correctly, hopefully, but it is a portfolio website, pretty basic. If you are the person that I'm reviewing or you're the owner of the website, let me know in the chat and we can talk more about what your goals are, maybe some specific feedback, something you're looking for. But as far as this goes, let's jump right into this one specifically. So we want to talk about what people call intelligence just boils down to curiosity. Okay, so intelligence and curiosity kind of going off of the fun motif here, like the quick quote. I think that's interesting. These guys running across the screen are honestly probably more distracting than helpful. So I would say let's probably nix those guys. It's a cool little animation, but I don't know that it's adding all that much to your website itself. I do like the action going on here, the color change. That's a cool front end element. And it looks like the get started just takes us straight down to the contact section. So we won't click that, but that's good to know. Okay, the about yourself, first things first. I think this is good. Ulas K, designer and developer, self-taught developer from India. I'm curious about art, design, and technology, open source enthusiast. I'm a learner and always looking for improvement, always bet on vanilla JavaScript. So, okay, interesting. So vanilla JavaScript is kind of your highlight here, but it looks like your technologies besides JavaScript are also React and things like that. I'm not sure if you want to specify that you're really more into Node and React than JavaScript itself, but whatever works for you. I think that's totally fine. I think it's a relatively good bio. I think it makes sense. What does this say? Sorry, it's kind of hard to read that. You have to make sure you start it before you actually get to that part of the page. I love creating things from scratch. Okay, that's kind of cool. I would say it scrolls off too fast and you kind of just miss it. So you end up having to scroll back and forth a couple times. Let's start talking about projects. Some of my projects, I've learned programming from open source platforms, blogs, YouTube. YouTube's pretty great for that. I couldn't thank enough, especially GitHub. Let's work on the grammar there. I couldn't thank GitHub enough, or I couldn't thank especially would be the word there. But anyway, let's not nitpick on grammar or wording. Let's talk about this one right here. We've got a couple of projects. I don't necessarily love the design here of these projects. I love the momentum scroll. That's pretty fun and cool. But the first one, DevHub, combination of both social media and productivity applications built with React, CSS, pure functional component to retain immutability, Mongo, Express. Holy cow, it's a big project, apparently. It has all the feature and functionality that a student. That doesn't really mean anything to me. I would probably put a little bit more here if you want specifically people to understand what you're talking about there. But the concept here is really good. And one of the things that I want to highlight, Ulas, that you did really, really well, these screenshots, these graphics are awesome. I think they do a really good job of showing what you've built. And the design of the things that you've built is actually really, really good. I would lean on that heavily. I think overall right now, the way it's presented on the website is a little bit too intense. It's just the big blocks, big titles, and then a quick little one-liner. I would try and maybe group that, maybe put them into cards that you can click on. I just think they're a little bit too big and a little bit too basic. It looks like a starter blog almost that I would understand. But the projects themselves seem really cool, so I want to highlight them, but I just want to highlight them slightly differently. You have quite a few of those. They look great. I really do like how they look. I just would love to see them maybe in smaller cards on the site itself. Okay, and then jumping right down to the bottom, pretty basic. Hello visitor, let's connect. You just type your information in there and then you're good to go. I think that's pretty basic. I think anything else, Ulas, if you join in the stream, let me know if there's any specific questions you have. But overall, I think it's good. There are a couple of tweaks that I would make, as I mentioned, but let's dive right into the next one. Okay, Diana Genova. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Again, if you're the one who actually made this site and you're on this stream right now, please leave a comment. Let me know in there if you have any questions or anything specific. One of the things that I want to understand really is each of you, what your goals are, what you're trying to get to, maybe the job or the role you're specifically looking for. That's what I'm curious about. So if you have that information, go ahead and type that into the chat. I'd love to know more. Okay, so we've got this new one. Design-wise, that's really cool. The pink and blue cloud field you got going on is fun. I like that you have the custom pointer here that doesn't overwrite the words. That's cool as well. I think you do a good job of that. Design wise, it looks really great and it's very clean, which I think is important. The basic information at the top, super easy. Diana, I'm a developer, I'm a designer, scrolls in like that. That's fun. Let's dive in. Actually, one of the things I wanted to highlight that I just noticed right here in the top left corner, you have your name. I think that's really cool. I can't really click very easily on any of these. It looks like it's blocking my mouse from getting to that top one. It just moves off the browser. It might just be a quick tweak to the CSS there, or it's not quite on with that dot. But anyway, I like that you have your name, and that seems to be like a social media handle, which is cool. Ulas, you just have @creator here on the left, which isn't super helpful. I assume that @creator is not your actual handle, so that's something that you might want to update. Okay, let's dive right into this one, your work. Okay, this is kind of what I was talking about with the last one. I think you want to make sure that they're in individual cards you can see and you can quickly and easily go to the different ones you're looking for. She trades crypto, fitness app, goat shop. I'd love to get a little more information on these cards. So maybe put like what technology stack you use for each of them. Maybe talk more about what the app does itself. I like that you have demos in here. Really cool. It looks like these demos are either that one was Heroku, a couple of these are YouTube, so they're probably just kind of scroll throughs. The ones on Heroku, those are awesome. Those are ones that I would typically, as an employer, look to see and specifically go and check it out, see what the demo can do. Oh, it looks like you go more into each of these through the site. I'm not sure that that's necessary. I like that you have the example here on the right, and it looks very well designed. I think that's great. This text here does not work very well for me. Either the text needs to be bigger or the line height needs to be smaller, but it looks a little bit off with small text and really big line height. It's also kind of hard to see the white for contrast on this cloud background. Okay, so we're going to go through a few of your projects, it looks like. Get fit, fitness app for everyone trying to get fit and be healthy, React to Material UI, styled components, implement. Okay, so talking about the APIs you've implemented, that's excellent. I like this blurb. I wish this was more information like this was on the above one as well. And if anyone else has any comments as you guys are watching this, if you want to throw that in the comment section, I'd love to see what you guys think about these sites and what you guys are seeing and any tips that you would give as well to those people that have built these sites. It looks like they're popping up a little bit too late, right here on the examples on the right. So we want to make sure that those pop up at the right time. So like the sheet codes should come up as soon as you start seeing that text. And it's still there, and it doesn't appear until you're kind of already past the next one, but it's not a huge deal. Okay, all of your projects are on here. I think that's just too many. It makes the site way too long. So I would say shorten that up and maybe make that scroll element a little bit smaller so you're not scrolling down quite so far to get to the end. Originally from Kazakhstan, that's cool. Eager to create high quality. I'm sorry, but the text here I can hardly read because it's pink on pink and blue. It's just a little bit difficult to get with that contrast, but I'll do my best. I would definitely change that. Eager to create high quality web applications and mobile applications that benefits everyone around me. Specialize in developing software for freelance clients and small business. Hunger to learn more, be part of the community, team, and business to collaborate, share ideas, and excel my knowledge. I think it works. It's a little bit wordy, personally, I think, but it works. It kind of conveys what you're trying to talk about. Let's see what the skills look like. You said the same boxes. I would put a little bit more contrast on the top of these boxes so you can see them better. But the first three, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, if you've seen this channel before, you know that it's not my absolute favorite to talk specifically about JavaScript and CSS. I think those are things that should be implied. If you're already talking about React and AWS and Node, you should have JavaScript well in hand. You should have HTML well in hand. All those things are kind of implied. It really depends on the role you're looking for and the job you're trying to reach out to. Okay, contact, you got contact information, you got a quick form, that's cool. I think this is really good. The one thing, I think this project section is just too long, but other than that, the design I think is phenomenal. So very well done, Diana. Thank you for contributing and posting that. Any other questions, again, please leave those and we'll get to them. Let's jump into another one. This is Muhammad Shiraz, or Manak Dev, I think is the title of the website itself, which is cool. Another much darker website compared to the pink and blue that we were working at a second ago. But I think this is good. Hello, I'm Muhammad Shiraz, front-end developer specializing in React.js. Super clear, super easy. If I was looking to hire someone and I needed someone specifically who had experience in React, or I was trying to build something specifically in that stack, I love the simplicity, especially because when developers start to specialize in things, it's really important that they showcase the skills that they've spent the most time on. And we can talk about the skills section later, but I really, really like that, Muhammad, you've shown what you're interested in and what you're trying to go for as a job. I think that's super helpful. You've got your LinkedIn here, got your Facebook here. Awesome. Dumping into your specialized skills. So we go straight from this, hello, I'm Muhammad, right into your skills. That works. I think that's helpful, especially with recruiters really looking for, what are you good at? What can you do? Front-end skills, HTML, CSS, Tailwind CSS, Bootstrap, React, JavaScript. Okay, so pretty good stuff here. HTML, CSS, we talked about that before. We'll talk about it again. It's not something that I usually recommend you put on there, especially if you have skills in other areas. I would recommend highlighting those even more. Tailwind CSS, though, I think is a specific thing that you might not see everywhere. So things like that I would definitely include. You've got Strappy here. That's another one. If there are things that are specific or specific implementations, even APIs sometimes people have used, and I think that's really valuable as well. Got Firebase on here for backend WordPress. It's interesting, so you talk about your specifically a front-end developer, but we also go into some backend skills, backend experience you might want to talk about or specify. I've touched on this, but it's not necessarily my specialty. If your specialty is React or something like that. Okay, my recent projects. Ooh, this is nice. I really like the quick scroll here when you're moused over it. That's pretty fun. It says 2 out of 5. Okay, so there's 5 more. Is there a way to go to those? Oh, you can. Okay, here on the right-hand side. Let's start here. New trends, React News website. There's a video you can watch about the project, and there's the GitHub source code, or there's a link, I assume, to the specific web app where it's live. That's phenomenal. Super, super well done there. This one's using Tailwind and React and then HTML. Okay, I think it's really clear, really helpful. I love that it scrolls through. I think that's super fun. I like that it has a lot of good information here. I don't necessarily see kind of what the website does, but then again, that's the least important. So I'd say you nailed all the things that are the most important here. And now you can see we're on 3 out of 5. Oh, okay. Got the quick web app here. And these are all the projects. Awesome. I think that's super helpful. I think it's good. It's pretty clear that you highlighted the ones that you probably spent more time on, had more effort into at the beginning. I think that's great. It's a thing that I recommend to a lot of people, specifically those that don't have as many projects. You want to make sure that you're highlighting just the ones you spent a significant amount of time on, because a lot of times a recruiter or an employer or someone who's trying to give you a job here is only going to have time to look at a couple. So you want to make sure that you don't have too many on there, especially if they're like your first experience with something, or you really just barely started your first boot camp project, right? If you throw that on your website, you don't want it to stay on there forever. If that's the only thing you have, it's the only thing you have. But if you have more options, make sure to only give the recruiter or the hiring manager specifically the projects you think are going to succeed and be successful. You don't want them to accidentally, like if I only click on one, you don't want me to click on the one that you spent the least time on. So something to keep in mind as you're building your portfolio website. Okay, satisfied clients say. Okay, so he did mention that he's looking at freelancing and trying to get another clients. Obviously, having these just be boilerplate text is not helping you. It's probably not ideal. I would say try to get some, even your friends, right? If you want testimonials or you want freelance testimonials, it looks like this hire me button up here in the top right corner just goes straight to Upwork. If you don't have any feedback through Upwork, see if you can do some work for your friends or help them with some design work. It doesn't have to be extensive. You can show them an example of a rebuild for their own personal websites. But if you do that, you can get feedback from them. And then having that is going to be really helpful to getting new and future clients, specifically, to put on your website here so that it doesn't have to be boilerplate text. Reach out to those friends and see what they say, see what their feedback is, and then you can put that on here. Contact me. Looks like you've got, I'm hoping that's not your actual address, but it's valuable. Maybe it's your company's address, which is great. If you're looking for help, contact me. Name, phone, okay. You got all this stuff in here. Throw a comment and submit message. That's good. I think this is super helpful. MNK Dev, I assume, is the either agency or your kind of brand that you're working under. I think that's totally fine. But as far as content on the website, I think it's really good. I would say the testimonials is probably the lowest point of the site itself, just because since they're blank, it doesn't really convey um, that reputation that you probably want it to. So if you do have the opportunity, I would try your best to go in and make some testimonials by helping friends or helping family members or someone who can give you some sort of feedback that you could actually put onto your website. So I think that's super valuable. Okay, I don't have any other submissions and I don't see any comments. So unless someone has something that they'd like to ask a specific question about in the comments, or anyone else has a portfolio website they'd like me to review in the comments, we may have to end this stream just a little bit early. It was kind of a practice. It was an idea to see, what the stream would look like and if I could be helpful to people in this type of a stream. So hopefully it was helpful, but maybe we'll come back again next week and have more feedback and more interesting comments about these portfolio websites. Otherwise, everyone seemed to do really well. Thanks everyone for your time, and we will see you in the next one.